Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Sorry about not uploading quite a lot recently. I'll try to do it more frequently now. So this video will be about greetings, how to basically say hi, hello, things like that. First I'll start. Всем привет, как у вас дела? Now what did I just say? So I'll break it down slowly. So we have всем привет. This means to all, hi. So a simply informal way of saying hi is привет. I'll go through всем in a later lesson. Just understand it means to everyone, to all. Then we have this phrase как у вас дела. So как means how or as, and it depends on the situation. In this situation it means how. Then we have у вас, which is just as we did before, you have, at you. It's just generally just a phrase of how you ask, and dela is one of those words that just has a lot of meanings, and here it just means things, business. So it's like hi everyone, how are things? Basically what it means. You don't necessarily need to say у вас, you could say как дела, so how things. From context you understand who you're talking about. Normally it's you, how are things for you, something like that. If you want to specify, you could say how are things for him. You could say как у него дела, so how are things for him, something like that. How is he? An alternative to this is simply you can just say как ты or как вы if it's plural, which is just how you. That's simply it. You don't really need to learn much else. So как у вас дела? Как ты? Fairly simple questions to ask. How are you? Hi, how are you? So there are formal ways of saying this. Well, there isn't a formal way of saying how are you. I guess there is, but yeah, anyway, so the formal way to say hello is quite complicated. I'm not entirely sure what the base form of the verb is, but so it comes from a verb which is здравствовать, I believe, which means to be healthy. And for some reason, to say hello, they say be healthy in the imperative mood, which is just giving a command. So basically they say be healthy as a command, and that's hello. To basically make something a command, you either add i kratka, the Y letter, to the end. So to make something a command, it kind of depends. With this verb, you simply add an uy to the end, and to make it plural, you add tie. So this is a bit of a hard word for lots of people to pronounce, especially at first. But if you break it down into sections, it's not too difficult. So this word is здравствуйте. So you break it down into small parts. Say zdra, S-D-R-A, zdra. Здравствуйте, здравствуйте, which is the formal way of saying hello. There is like a very informal way of saying this. If you want to say that, you can say здрасте, which just a very informal way of saying it, but it means the same thing. Hello. There are other ways of saying hello. You can use the times of the day. So I'll go through adjectives in a future lesson, but they do change sometimes. But say for example you want to say good morning, you would say доброе утро. Доброе утро. Which доброе is just a way of saying good, or say if you want to talk about a person who's nice, who's a kind person, say добрый, доброе. Yes, it's just saying good morning. Доброе утро. Утро means morning. Доброе, good. Then day, we have добрый день. So the adjective changes. I will explain this in a next lesson. I'll explain this in a future lesson. So good day, добрый день. Then we have добрый вечер, which is good evening. So all these can be used to say hello depending on the time of day. Okay, to say goodbye, they have this phrase до свидания. До свидания. This isn't the base form of the nouns. Again, I haven't gone through cases yet. But do means until. Свидания means meeting. So it's basically like saying until we next meet, or until meeting, literally. Until meeting. До свидания. That's the formal way of saying goodbye. If you want to be informal, you could say Пока. Пока. Пока means bye, and it means while. It depends on context. In this context, fairly obviously means bye. Because you can say, for example, Пока я еще не знаю, which means I still don't know, something like this. But most of the time it means bye. Well, from context, not most of the time, but you can tell from context what it means. Okay, so to answer the question Как у вас дела, you can have the simple answer. You can say Хорошо, which means good or well. You can say Плохо if you want, bad. You can say a very common phrase, Нормально, Нормально, which just means normal. It just means okay. It doesn't really mean normal. I guess it could mean normal in some situations, but we wouldn't really answer this in English. So how are you? Normal. It doesn't work. We would say I'm okay. That's what this means. Нормально. Как у вас дела? Да, нормально. And da at the start of the sentence, it means yes. Doesn't really actually mean yes. It's just kind of like a filler word that doesn't actually mean anything. So if you want to ask someone else this, like say they ask you Как у тебя дела or как дела, and you say Хорошо, and you want to ask them, you normally ask А у тебя, and the word а just basically means but, or a way of talking about something else. So for example, я знаю, а он нет, or я знаю, а он не знает. So it's just a way of saying I know, but he doesn't. It's a is like a way of saying something else, if that makes sense. So first you say I'm good, then at you, it's yeah. So you say Хорошо, а у тебя. So the really formal way of saying how are you is Как вы поживаете, which is basically like saying how are you living. I think I never really actually understood what this means. I just understand it as a phrase. I understand it just how are you as a phrase, because it comes from жить, поживаете. I guess you could say it in an informal way if you want, как ты поживаешь, but normally it's used in a very formal way. So you'd use this with someone you don't know. So Здравствуйте, как у вас дела? Or как вы поживаете? Informally you'd say Привет, как дела? Okay, that's all for this lesson. Let me know if you have any questions. И всем пока!